Hey gang, it's Jay from JTech and welcome to another JTech video. In today's video, I will finally be answering the question that you guys have been asking in previous videos. What has been my daily driver for the last couple of years? Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to find out what that case has been, and here it is guys. It's the Infinix Hot 6 Pro. I mentioned it in reply to a couple of comments in older videos about what phone I've been using, but I've never given you guys a video or a review over the last couple of years of how this phone has been performing, what this phone has meant for me over the last couple of years. It's sort of the reason the channel has kept going for a few years because of, obviously I need something to record my videos on. But this phone has been, it's been eye-opening to say the least. It's made me have new experience and new respect on phones with a much larger frame and larger form factor, as previously I never wanted to use large screen phones. But because of this phone, I took the leap to try something new and it just had to be done. So let's just get into it.
This phone came out in the middle of 2018. That's during the winter time in Zambia, and honestly, the moment I saw this phone, I was a bit skeptical. This was originally not meant to be the phone I was going to get that year. I was planning to get the Tecno Camon CM. The specs in this phone are very entry-level or low-end mid-range, so to say. It has a Snapdragon 425 processor, 2 gigs of RAM. It comes in two variants, a 2GB and 16GB version, and a 3GB and a 2GB version. I opted for the base 16GB variant, and had I waited a couple of weeks, I could have gotten the 3GB and the 2GB variant. But at the end of the day, it was a leap I had to take, and I was desperate at the time. I had no form of smartphone for 1 whole month. In terms of build quality, the Infinix Hot 6 Pro is possibly the best plastic built phone that I have used so far. It felt so sturdy in the hand, feels so strong. And at first I honestly thought it was a metallic phone, but when you feel the touch between aluminum, stainless steel, and hardcore polycarbonate plastic, there's a very huge difference in quality in that regard. But still, this is one of the best built phones in terms of a unibody curved design, which is similar to that of previous iPhones. And it just felt very strong, no creaks. This phone looks so much like the iPhone 7. A few people thought that I was using the iPhone 7 for a brief period, or should I say the iPhone 7 Plus. And it's very easy to tell. The dual camera design with a very large dual LED flash. If you hide the fact that it has a fingerprint scanner at the back, this phone definitely looks like an iPhone 7. In terms of display, this phone continued the trend and still continues the trend of Infinix phones sporting 720p displays. At that time in 2018, I would have understood, since the Hot series is the mid-range version of Infinix's phones. But I would have loved to see a 1080p screen. 1080p panels are becoming cheaper by the dozen each and every day, and I would have loved to see Infinix give this phone a 1080p display. But that's just my 2 cents. When you go and buy a phone from either Infinix or Tecno, you have to live with the fact that you're most likely going to deal with the phone with the 720p display. Still, it's a very good display, very bright in normal lighting, but in terms of outdoor ambience, it's not that clear. I was very disappointed with how it was in terms of outdoor visibility. It's very, very poor. But it depends on the theme you use. I decided to use a dark theme thanks to the launcher, and a couple of icon packs. If you're interested, I will link them in the description down below. But other than that, this screen is a very good screen. But at the end of the day, this display was very good. It's very sharp. When it comes to day-to-day performance, it's an okay performing phone. I really wish I would have waited to get the much larger variant, the 3GB, 32GB version. I would have loved to see the performance on that one, because I believe that one is just a better performing phone in terms of storage and memory capacity. I was hoping a few security or software patches would fix this, but it never did. And surprisingly, this phone still got security updates up until April of this year, and now it's surpassed its sell-by date. It's pretty old. It doesn't get any security updates. I legitimately thought it would get an Android 9 update according to what the box said, but they ordered it poorly, and what they should have meant was security updates for a couple of years. And that's honestly one of the few issues, or the many issues I have with phones from Transient Holdings. you're guaranteed to not get an update for the longevity you have with this phone. But other than that, in terms of the software features, there's not much to complain about. Android 8.0 out of the box, very smooth, very fluid. There's barely any lag unless you play very demanding games, which I barely played on this phone because the storage could not withhold games such as Call of Duty or Asphalt 9 and many other games of such magnitude. In terms of camera performance, I feel this is where Infinix knocked it out of the park. This is possibly the best mid-range camera I used at the time. And if you saw my videos, yes, they were not of perfect quality. In terms of video quality, Infinix phones aren't that great. But in terms of still images, this is still one of the best entry-level mid-range phones I ever used in that regard. The secondary lens really helped in terms of portrait mode and the bokeh effect. And it shot very well with the HDR on. I'll leave some samples, I'll show you some samples in the video. It just looked so good. It's still very impressive. Even when you upgrade to a different phone, the pictures still look very good. The front-facing camera, however, it's a 5 megapixel sensor. It's passable. It's very passable. In good lighting, it takes fantastic front-facing selfies. But in low light, the exposure is off and it does a lot of smoothing and it just looks very, very poor. I tried looking for a Gmail, or should I say a Gcam port that would work for this phone. Unfortunately, it couldn't. I was hoping that maybe because it's a Snapdragon processor, I would easily find a port that would work fantastically well on this phone, but I couldn't. If there was an option to get Gcam on this phone, I would literally get it and camera wouldn't be an issue. But the stock Infinix software just limits this phone's camera capabilities. The rear camera comes with a 12 megapixel main sensor and a 2 megapixel depth sensor, which does the basic portrait mode. It does have a pro mode. It doesn't have any slow-mo. It shoots video maxed out at 1080p at 30 frames per second. It does have time-lapse feature. It's a very decent camera, a very usable camera. I wouldn't use it too much for videography or vlogging, but as someone who's used this for YouTube, it does the job decently enough. Battery life is possibly the best selling point of any phone from Infinix or Tecno, and it continues so strong in the Hot 6 Pro. 2 years down the line, the battery has not degraded. I still get an impressive 7 hours screen on time on a daily basis. If I use it heavily for YouTube or even playing games and doing a lot of photo editing, I can get up to 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, which is decent enough and pretty impressive. But on a regular day, I can easily last a day without charge, even a day and a half without charge. This phone is a battery champ. When you put it in your pocket, the standby time is incredible. I wish Samsung, and I'm hoping that Samsung have improved this in their future phones, like the A series phones, even the S series phones, because the standby time on this phone is possibly the best standby time you could get on any smartphone at this price range. I believe this phone would have benefited from having USB Type-C and supporting at least standard quick charge, fast charging rating, or maybe 10 watt quick charge. That would have been good enough for a phone with a 4000 milliamp hour cell. But when you buy phones from these guys, you know what you're getting. You know you have to sacrifice USB Type-C, you have to sacrifice all those really good features that you get in higher end mid-range phones, say from Xiaomi or Huawei or Samsung. Another feature I liked about this phone was the sound quality. It comes with a mono bottom facing speaker and it's very loud, very punchy. It doesn't have a lot of bass and there might be a bit of distortion at very high volumes, but it's very usable. It's very serviceable for music and YouTube. You might have to get used to the mono bottom firing speaker, but in terms of loudness, it's very, very loud. And it has very punchy bass, but it's not the most impressive. It's not going to give you boom sound levels of sound quality or something you get from an iPhone 10 or iPhone 11 Pro, or even older phones like the Galaxy S9 that come with stereo front-facing speakers.
Got water on my range. Let it rain, let it rain. Hell yeah, we the kings. Let's rain, let's rain. Kinda feel like a dream. Ain't as easy as it seems. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, do you know what I mean? I just posted on Facebook. All these so-called friends look. We make moves, they stay sure. Close out that little book. ETA on the best hooks.
Overall, all I can say is this phone is truly one of my favorite phones, one of the best phones I've used in my short time of being a smartphone owner for these last 7 or so years. And I can honestly appreciate what this phone has done for me, and for the users of this phone, they would definitely vouch for the battery life, the camera, and the sound quality. Not so much the performance. The performance is a-okay. It's a very well performing phone all the time I've used it, with a great camera, fantastic battery life, and a decent display. It's not going to blow your mind in terms of gaming performance or overall UI performance. Of course, there's going to be lag here and there. It depends on which version you get. But at the end of the day, this still remains one of the best mid-range phones I've used in a very, very long time.
This has been a wonderful last couple of years of experience, and it's made me appreciate larger screen phones like the Galaxy Note or the Plus versions of the iPhones or the Pixels, even the OnePlus phones and phones from Huawei and everyone else. And it's something that I've been looking forward to doing for a while now. As a reviewer, as a tech reviewer, it's been something that I've been forcing myself to push into, to give you guys a good look into how people with larger screen phone preferences would like to enjoy it. So I hope that even made sense. Does that make sense? I don't know. I hope it made sense. But at the end of the day, it's been a fun experience, and if you're looking to buy this phone in 2020, good luck, because Infinix and Tecno tend to fire sale their phones, so it's hard to find such phones in stock. Would I recommend this phone in 2020? Probably not, as there are much better phones that have aged better with time or are available right now. And yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What is your current daily driver? Are you looking to upgrade? I might be doing best phones that you can get under 5,000 kwacha video very soon, so stick around for that. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. It's been Jay from JTech. Talk to you guys next time.
Do you know what I mean? I just posted